Good morning, everyone. I'm back. Those of you that have been following know that the intent of my channel is to show both the good and the bad. Well, yesterday follows into that bad category, so let me show you what I did. I really screwed the pooch on this one. So I had patterns that I've made all along. I took pieces of that heavy paper that I got it from Home Depot. It's for putting down so that you don't damage floors when you're doing work inside. And I just went off and made patterns of different areas. So this one happens to be the front area, where there's where the headlight cutout is, and there's that V or W shape of the front of the hood. I made this a while back. One of the things is, be sure you mark, if you do these patterns, be sure you mark them, label them. Luckily this one was easily identified, but I have several in there that I got busy, I guess, and didn't label them. I'm looking at them going, I have no clue what this pattern is for. Anyway, so I learned on this one. So I did that, but it wasn't enough. So I went to the other C8, my blue C8, and made a pattern of the hood outline because I need to cut the opening for the hood. So I went up to the front and lined it up there, went up the side, lined it up here, made some marks. Not only do I put, like in this case, some C8 hood, I put, there's where the windshield is, there's where the fender edge is, so that I could reference it, and I drew a line across where the back of the hood is. Well, I extended the back of the hood on this one, so I couldn't use that reference. It's under here somewhere. So I put that on top. I should have, in hindsight, I should have gone all the way across instead of up and down and made the pattern that way. It would have been a two-piece pattern, and I didn't think I would need it. I thought, oh, I've got this edge here. I can surely find someplace up here that'll align with what I can see, and someplace down here, and you know, that W should be easy to do. I was wrong. So I put it on here, used the marker and made an outline, and cut it out. The top area you see here is where it got marked. The curve looks really good. Unfortunately, it was in the wrong place by anywhere from what, 3/8 of an inch to, you know, 3/4, almost an inch here. And you can also see, as I was using my cutter, I kind of went through a few places. Doesn't matter because it's all going to go away at some point, but it would have been nice if I wouldn't have done that. No big deal. So then I slowly, as it was up here, kept cutting away more and more and more until I finally found where the real edge is. If you look, you can see there's the real edge. So it does line up now. But now I've got to fill back in this gap that I just created. I have straps around here somewhere. Oh, right here. Maybe I can use this, put it back in to help. Maybe not. I don't know. Again, I'll probably leave this to my body guy and have him do it. I even accidentally cut all the way through the actual hood here. I didn't mean to do that. One of the things is I didn't have to follow the opening of the hood underneath. I could have made this thing come out, you know, an extra 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, whatever, because when you open the hood, you'll see that there is a space. All of the hood overhangs the structure underneath. So as long as the front area matched the back area, like here, I could have put this gap anywhere I wanted. It is a little bit easier to make it match the original. Personally, I'm not a fan of this W right here, but again, because it makes it easier and I can do it, what would happen is, let's say I made this into a curve. So when the hood is closed, it would look like the hood opening's a curve, but then when you open it up, it would have this W underneath it. Kind of inconsistent, not that it matters, but anyway, I went ahead and decided to do the W, and in hindsight, maybe I shouldn't have done that because that W doesn't really match the design of this. Except for one of the funny things is people say, hey, you know what? This looks like the Speed Racer car. And if you look at it, it has kind of a W symbol on it. So, hey, a little more Speed Racer-y, I guess. Anyway, that's what I did yesterday. I wish I wouldn't have done that, but hey, it is what it is. I did go off and trim the front end. and put it up closer to where it's going to go on the C5, you can see that it's going to fit rather well. The wheel opening falls in the right place. The door edge falls in the right place. The real problem, and I don't know if it's a problem, is the way the wheels stick out on the front. Now, I looked at the original C2s, and they do the same thing. The wheels actually, front wheels actually are exposed right here. I don't know. I don't know if I should cover those or leave it out. It does look a bit aggressive out there. Someone said it looked like the wheels were turned. They may be slightly turned, but they're as close as I, was going to get them. Anyway, and that edge, you see the fender sticks out there. It pushes in. I had that piece of wood wedged against there to push it in. So that's not an issue. See, this thing really, if you look, really belongs up like that. So I could take a piece of wood right here, my famous pieces of wood. There we go. Wedge it up there. Still not quite where it goes, but it's closer. So that's what it would look like. Someone had made the comment about that steel piece spacing the front of the car part. Yeah, I know. I'm going to weld that back in. I just got to figure out where to weld it back in, and it had to be cut out so that I could put this front end on. Those that know about the other retro cars, they do the same thing. The problem is that the C5s have a horrible amount of overhang on the front, and you've got to get rid of that if you want to do any of these retros and make them look decent and not have a obscene amount of overhang. Sorry, I'm trying to adjust this just because I want to. The issue now is getting it back to where it goes. I can force it there, but the problem is the interference right here with that factory, I guess, splash shield. It's kind of in the way. No big deal. I mean, obviously I can trim it, but that's one of the issues. But if I'm going to extend this out, then I would not want to trim that. So when I say extend out, I'm talking about doing what I did with the C8 right there. So you can see that this car has the exact same issue, that there's the headlight, I'm sorry, the running light, and then it has to get wider to cover the tire. So I didn't even think about leaving the tire exposed on the front of this. I don't know why that didn't occur to me, but it really wasn't part of my design intent on this one. When I see it on that one, again, because the original was that way, maybe I should leave it, maybe not. I don't know. Go ahead and let me know what you think. It's obviously a lot more work to go ahead and cover it. I can go either way. I mean, I'm making so many different cars, so many different designs. I'm really not married to any of them. What's the other thing? Sorry, my throat's a little, it's early in the morning. Okay, so my next thing to do is, this body kit is actually made for a C6. I have that red C6. I did put the back hatch on there and saw it was going to fit rather nicely. When I had it on the C5, just to see, it didn't fit real well. I mean, it could be made to fit, but it didn't really match the curve of the back hatch area. I didn't expect it to, but it wasn't going to be a huge deal to make that change. On the C6, it pretty much fits. So, which is what I was hoping, because ideally I want the carbon fiber guy to just plain make parts straight from these molds in carbon fiber. Because there's that pattern matching in carbon fiber, we can't just go in and go, oh, well, we need to add a little material here or there, or take out some material here or there, because it doesn't match. Ideally, we'd want the part to come straight out of the mold, bolt to the car, and not require any kind of modifications. What I'm doing now is I'm putting the hood. This is that hood that bowed really bad. I have no earthly idea why, but it did. So I split it in half to help compensate for the bow as much as I could. it's still there. But anyway, so I did that so that you can see. Ignore the fact that the wings stick way up there. They should curve the other way. But this is what it would look like once I get a hood that works. I did the same thing with this one. I made the hood thin enough that it was flexible and I could make it fall to the right shape. Again, I don't know why that thing curves up like that. This is obviously one of the hood options. There's several hood options. You've got the Stinger hood, you've got the Grand Sport hood, you've got this floor mat vent hood. Any hood that fits on a C2 that you've seen over all the ages would obviously work here. You'd have to graft it on, but it would still work. Okay, this car was from a early attempt to make a C1, actually a 1953 to 55 Corvette out of a C5. And so this was a quick and dirty experiment, just like I did. And then the prototype never went past that stage. I still have the plug for the C5 in my driveway. You can see it right there stacked with a bunch of stuff. I need to do something with it. Anyway, that's what this was. I was going to make a C5 and modify, I'm sorry, C1 and modify it. I'm not a fan of the 53 to 55 rims with that tail light that sticks out. So one of the reasons I abandoned this is I decided I'm going to change it to a 56 through 60 that got rid of that exposed tail light and actually has a sunken in tail light or a flush mounted tail light, depending on what year it is. So all of that's going to come off. It has to come off so that we can put that mold, the part out of that mold, on there and see if it's going to work. Same thing, the part off of that mold. Also, I'm going to test fit on the C6 and hopefully it will work with ideally no modifications or minimal modifications. Okay, that's what I have for today. I've got a lot of work to do. I've got to go out of town and work on the two Cobras. So this is going to be, after today, this is going to be all I'm doing. And then my body guy's going to take over. So my goal today is to get both of these to where I can just say, here's what I need done, give them a checklist and say, here's what I need done while I'm out of town. All right, like, subscribe, hit the alert if you want to know what's going on. Something else is some people have contacted me through my Facebook page, through Instant Messenger, all of that kind of stuff. They're still afraid to do some of this stuff. You know, they've got these ideas and they go, yeah, I'd really like to do this, but, you know, I'm just afraid to get going. Look, you think about it. If you're really, really good at this, you can use $100 worth of material between mat and fiberglass in one day. So let's say you go off and you spend a day and you do put down all that mat and all that fiberglass and spend a day doing it, and you don't like what you get. What's the worst case? You lost $100 worth of material and a day's worth of work. Yeah, right now it might seem significant, but the first question is, what would you have done with that day if you didn't build your dream car or modify your existing car into your dream car? Nothing. So you haven't really lost anything. And I guarantee you 6 months, a year from now, that $100 worth of material and that day's worth of work will amount to exactly zero. And even if you completely screw up, you're going to learn. You're going to learn what not to do. And believe me, I have so much fiberglass crap sitting around here that was efforts that I tried and it didn't work like I thought, and I abandoned it or threw it away and did something different. This car is a perfect example. I thought I knew what I was doing when I did this, and this was what, probably 10 years ago that I worked on this. Now it looks worse than it did because I used plaster on it just to get it to smooth out, because my goal was to just take it somewhere and have a mold made out of it. And then, like I said, it wasn't finished, and they actually bid 1,000 hours to get this from the state I had it to where I wanted it. Well, think about that, 1,000 hours, even at 25 bucks an hour, that's $25,000. So I didn't want to spend, my whole budget for this car was $50,000, including the cost of the car. So that back then, this was a C5 that was expensive, relatively expensive 10 years ago. So anyway, I had the car, I had the molds, I had all that stuff that I had to pay for, and that $25,000 would have pushed me over my budget. So that's why the other reason why I abandoned it was I couldn't do it at a reasonable cost. All right, that's where we're at. So I'm going to go ahead, get some work done, and I will update you at the end of the day. Hopefully I will have made some significant progress. Talk to you later. Bye.